Alright guys, I had a pretty deep signal. I'm using that M15. You can see how thick that sucker is. This is actually the back side of the plug right here. We've got a little shiny coming through. Hey everybody, so yes, I have all three coils, as you saw in the thumbnail or the title. I shot the video actually the other day, and I had a second thought on how I wanted to do this video. So I initially set everything up and found 12 targets and wanted to show the differences between all 12 targets between the three coils. The problem is I don't want to bore anybody with the experience I had on 11 out of the 12 targets. So all three coils did amazing as far as being equivalent to each other in regards to their VDI and the target trace on the screen, the sound. Everything was pretty equivalent to each other on just average targets. However, one of the targets that I found was a nice deep target, so I'm able to give you guys a good representation of the difference between the three coils on this deep target that I found. I won't tell you what it was, but I was happy that it was what it turned out to be. So anyway, you'll see some parts from the other day kind of mixed in, as well as some silver I found for the first time with the M15 coil, and the 12th target that I had. It was actually target number 12 that I had marked out. So anyway, let's get to it. I know you guys want to see this. So in conducting this video, I did a factory reset on the machine. You know, everybody can get their machines dialed in really well, but the problem is if I dial this in and show you that, it's only going to be specific to my soil conditions in the area that I live in. So it won't really do you much good, especially if you don't live in the area, which most if not all of you don't. So I did a factory reset, and I'm just going to run you through the basics of what I did with some of the adjustments, just to suit me. It may not be something that suits you. I'm actually cut that back just slightly. So I'm running all terrain low conductors. I just like how well that seems to work for me, so that's what I'm running. You know, noise counts, ground balance, things like that will be different for each person. Recovery speed, factory reset I believe was 6. I knocked it down to a 5. I'm running all metal, and I'm running it wide open because I want to hear everything in this field. Everything else in my settings I pretty much left the same, just to run it as is, just to show you the power of the machine on its own without doing too much to it. I've marked all of my spots with yellow stakes. That way I can go back over them with the coils, all three coils, before I actually dig them, because I want to have an in situ dig or testing versus digging them and then testing them. Air test isn't going to do us a lot of good. We want to have them in the ground. So we're going to give it a shot here. We'll dig them up and see what they sound like before, and then see what we actually land on. I used my stock coil to find the targets, and there's a couple of them that I barely was able to catch with the stock coil. So we'll see what happens when we do use the large coil on those, and the small coil. See if we can even hit them with the small coil. So that'll be interesting. And hopefully they actually are targets and not something that's just mineralization or something, who knows. Anyway, let's get to digging and see what we find. If you don't recognize where I'm at, I'm actually in the field where I found the half dime about a month and a half ago. What's cool about here, if you notice, everything's been cut down. All the brush hogging's been done for the year. It's like a city park right now, so this should be nice, easy terrain to hopefully find some more good old targets. So we're gonna give it a shot here and see what happens. All right, and the last target was a little bit farther away from everything else. This is one of the deeper ones I was barely catching. You can hear something in there. You can barely see something showing up on the screen. I'm guessing it's probably gonna be tip of iron, like maybe a deep nail or something like that. Not a lot of iron showing up on the screen though, but it just kind of has the characteristics of it. So we'll have to dig that one. I'm just curious what that is. But we'll see what it rings up as on the big coil and kind of go from there. All right, I have the M8 coil on now, and man, first impressions, they did, you know, Minelab did a great job, just like with the Equinox, with the small coil on that one. It's got a very, very good response, very good weight to it. All right, this one will be interesting with both the small and large coil. This is target 12. This is the one that was either deeper. It's probably tip of iron, like a small nail deep or something like that. So we'll see what happens here with the small coil. I hear it barely coming up on the screen. I do hear it, however, which is good. Wasn't sure if it even would with the small coil. So it's hearing it. It's just not showing up on the screen quite as well as the stock coil did. So hopefully you guys can hear that too, but it is catching it. You can hear it, and that's why a lot of times you'll hear metal detectors that have been doing it a long time say, don't detect using your screen, detect using your ears, and that's why. So if you can hear that repeatable signal, which you can, it's worth digging because it might be something just super deep. So hopefully it's not just iron, hopefully it is something cool. So we'll come back over this with the big coil and see what it sounds like right now. Oh boy, guys. For how big this coil is, that has very good balance. It feels very much like my stock coil. It's lightweight and has really good balance. That feels really, really good. I'm very impressed with this one. I thought I was going to be heavier and cause more arm fatigue than I'm feeling right now. As I've been dinking around with it just a little bit, just to kind of get a feel for it. Holy smokes, I like this a lot. I'll be probably using this a lot in my fields. So I'm starting to land some pretty good field permissions over here in North Carolina. So this one will get used for sure. Okay, here's number 12, the one we've been waiting for. So I am going to go ahead and go to 20 because I don't think outside of the target, I don't think there's really much in the area. I'm a little bit farther out in the field than some of the other targets were. I'm gonna knock this down. And as expected, the target trace is coming up a lot better now. It's not showing a lot of iron though. I mean, any iron actually that I've seen so far. That's a digger. I don't know what it's going to be. I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to be a super awesome signal, but hey, when they're deep like this, you never know. So well, let's get that dug and find out what we actually have. That one shows up a lot better with this large coil. Remember that small coil? We couldn't even hardly see any target trace on that non-ferrous line whatsoever. It was just a little blip. The stock coil, you could see some, but not anywhere. I mean, this is all over the place on that non-ferrous line. Going horizontal with it. Pretty much both directions. That'd be kind of cool if that was a deep coin or something, but I mean, it's in the 60s, 70s, you never know. I'm not gonna hold my breath though, so let's get her dug. All right, so here's the 12th and final hole. This one's probably gonna be a little deeper, so I may not have dug enough depth-wise here. Oh, maybe. Maybe I popped it out. Oh, it is a coin. Look at that. Well, let's see what we have. Hopefully it's something good. Ooh, she's chunky. The impression I'm getting is likely an Indian. But boy, is that wiped. Holy smokes, and it has crud on there. Boy, I just can't tell. Not even in the side light. The sun's not exactly high right now. I'm not even getting much in that side light. Jeez. Alright. Now hopefully I can get an ID on that. I'm guessing Indian, but it's probably a weed or something. Who knows? I'll see if I can clean it up. Alright guys, I had a pretty deep signal. I'm using that M15. You can see how thick that sucker is. This is actually the back side of the plug right here. We've got a little shiny coming through. Little dime. Oh, it's just a little rosy. Still, that was pretty deep for a rosy. It's like 1952. All right.